Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So in today's episode, I've got this syngonium here that I suspect is root bound, so it needs potting up into a bigger pot. So I'm going to be showing you how I do that and also discussing the things you need to look out for if your plant is root bound. Okay then guys, so I've got my plant, my syngonium here in its decorative pot. I'm going to need some water, so I've got my water jug, I've got some soil ready to pot up into, and then I've got my pot that is probably 2 sizes bigger than the current one. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this plant out of its decorative pot, get rid of that, and I'm also going to use the lid to this soil box so I don't make any mess on the table. So with this plant, I think it needs a repot because the soil's dry. Even though I watered it probably a week ago, it's drying out much more quicker than normal. So that suggests that there's not much soil in here. There's a lot of roots just drinking up the water as I give it water. So there's not enough soil to keep on to hold of the moisture. Some of the leaves are looking droopy as well. Some of them are yellowing, so that maybe suggests that there's not enough nutrients in this pot for the plant. And it's starting to bulge a little bit as well. And as you can see, there's roots kind of poking up out of the top. So I suspect this is root bound, so I'm going to be putting it into a pot that's 2 sizes bigger, just so that there's enough new compost in here to kind of take on the roots of this plant. So what we're going to do now is have a look at the damage, so to speak. So I'm just going to carefully take it out of its pot. Like so. And as you can see, it's quite root bound in here. So there's some chunky roots at the bottom. They'll need untangling. It's not circling up at the top, which is quite good. But that's to do with how I water my plants, because I bottom water encourages the roots to go down and search for the water. So that's where all the roots are, right at the bottom. So as you can see, there's some hefty roots at the bottom. These will need untangling, but there's no roots at the top of the plant strangling the crown, so that's good to see. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to loosen up this soil and these roots, just tease them apart a little bit so that when you pot it up into a new pot, the roots can kind of establish in the new pot and it won't circle around like these currently are, particularly at the bottom. So you can be a little bit rough. Plants are quite resilient, plant roots are. You just want to tease them apart just to stop them circling, like so. Take your time with it, there's no rush. Some really nice healthy roots on here, which is good to see. And I'm pleased to see that my method of watering is kind of paying dividends, because all the roots are at the bottom of the plant, and that's what you want to see. You don't want to see them at the top, circling around the crown, because that has a tendency to choke out the plant. So I've got a video on how I bottom water my plants. I'll link to that in the description. This one's a little bit stubborn here, this little corner, so I'm just trying to untangle that without destroying the roots completely. That's a bit better. There we go. They are untangling nicely now. That one was really tangled, that one. That's better. There's another little clump here that I need to untangle. If some of the roots break off like that, don't worry too much. They're quite resilient houseplants. They will grow back. New roots will develop just fine, the ones that you've taken off by accident. I think I'm nearly there. I just want to tease apart this clump a bit more here, just to really stop it from circling. There we have it. So as you can see, all the roots are now kind of going down from the plant, and that's what you want when you put it into a new pot. Nice strong healthy roots on this plant, so it is healthy. Feels not dry, to be honest. So I don't know why the leaves were looking quite so limp, or some of them were anyway. Probably just a nutrient deficiency because of the amount of roots in the pot. So I'm just getting rid of some of the old soil in here, just so that when I put it into the new pot, the old soil's not there. It's just nice fresh soil. So that should encourage the plant to put out nice new growth as spring is around the corner. All right, I think that is untangled enough. So I'm just going to grab my pot now and just fill it with my potting mix. So this is just a mix that I've made, which is just compost, normal compost. I just bought in the big box store, mixed with perlite. So add perlite for drainage. You don't want your plants just sat in just compost. It's too dense for the plant's roots. It'll hold on to too much moisture. You want a nice free draining mix, which if you add perlite to the compost, that's what that achieves. So I might just empty that a little bit more. So I've got a good base of soil there. So I want the crown of the plant to be just poking out above the line of the pot. I think that's probably still a bit too much soil in there. It's looking better. So now I've got my cup. So I'm just going to fill around the plant. Just give it a tap every once in a while, just to make sure it settles down to the bottom of the pot, so you don't want any air gaps in there. So I'm just going to go around and just fill the pot up around the plant with my soil mix. Make sure nice and even. Making sure that the plant is in the middle of the pot. Also any roots that are poking out, I'm just going to push those back in. So this is the kind of job you want to do in spring, repotting your plants, just to get them ready for the growing season. Just before spring, I should say, just at the end of winter. So it's 10th of March at the moment here. So I'm just getting them ready for spring. Just give the soil a bit of a press down. It's going to compact when I add water anyway, so just want to make sure there's no air pockets in the pot. So again, just take your time filling this up. You want the soil line to be more or less at the top of the pot. Makes for a nice, attractive looking plant. You don't want it half filled, it just doesn't look right. So I think that is looking pretty good. Let's give it a light press around. So I've not buried the crown of the plant, as you can see, it's still poking out from the soil where it was before. So now what I'm going to do is just discard any of these yellowing leaves. Just pull them out. So just get rid of those, not really doing anything. This one's looking a bit ropey as well. I'm going to pull that out. Once I water it, I'll imagine some of these that are looking a bit droopy and the edges will perk up. But any yellowing ones, they won't come back, so you want to get rid of those. Okay, so I'm going to push that to one side. All that's left to do now is just water this plant. So I've got my saucer here just to catch any water. So you just want to give it a good drink evenly all around the pot. So that's what I'm going to do now, until it comes out the bottom of the drainage holes. So you want to do it evenly so there's an even moisture in the pot. You don't want areas of your plant that are moist and others that are dry. It's not going to be healthy for your plant. So just go around your plant like I am. Give it an even moisture. Put some in the middle as well. Seems to be taking quite a lot of water. I think I've used half this jug. Now it's starting to come out at the bottom. So I'll let that drain thoroughly, and then I will discard the excess water that's in this saucer tray once it's fully drained out. And that is that repot. So that should start to perk up very nicely in the next week or so. These leaves should be nice and vibrant, as it's got new compost now, so nice fresh nutrients for the plant. Should start to see some nice new growth as well coming from the base of the plant, particularly now as it's spring. So like I say, it's a good idea just to repot any plants as needed just before spring hits, just to get them ready for the growing season and really push out new growth. So I hope you found this video useful, guys. If you did, then please give it a thumbs up, really helps the channel grow. If you're new here, then please hit the subscribe button if you like content like this. If you have any comments or any questions about what I've done here today, then do leave it in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.